Okay, so happy Friday, everyone. Again, I don't know if it's a thing anymore because every day looks like a Friday to me now. Um, some housekeeping. I'm sorry we missed a couple of days. We've been having issues with internet, with the software, with everything. I guess everyone is going live today, so it's just not really working out. But um, hopefully from now on, it will work better. I just posted something with our Department of Transportation, something that actually started the whole thing with airline issues. So, Department of Transportation has issued kind of like a warning to all the airlines. You guys better start refunding money to your clients or else. I posted it. Share it with your clients, the clients that are afraid, that are worried. Let them know that people are working for them, and hopefully soon they will get their money back. So there's no need to do any disputes or anything. We are working for them. So today we have a special guest. We have Jenn Lee from Travel Planners International. She is joining us to talk about how to pitch your local media. Now, again, some of you have mentioned, again, Jenn is from TPI, Travel Planners International, which is my host, but we're not here to talk about the host. We're here to talk about you, how to pitch your local media and how to get you on the news. Hi,
Yeah.
Jenn.
Hey, Roy. Hey, everybody. And happy Friday to you. And I do have to say, I am so excited to be here because I've known about Roy's group, your group, for many, many years. And many of you might not know this, but we actually nominated and he won the Human Handbook Award last year at TPI because Roy Gal is probably one of the most knowledgeable, most giving people we have met. I have personally met, and I just love him to death. So when all of this craziness happened, I reached out to him and I said, dude, I would love to help your community learn how to pitch the local media because now is the time. This is the time that your local TV stations, your local radio stations, even your local newspapers are begging for somebody else to add to this crazy story that is constantly changing on a daily basis. So I am excited to share my knowledge with you. I bring this knowledge from my previous life. So I've only been in the travel industry 4.5 years. Can you believe it, Roy? It's only been 4.5 years.
It looks like it looks like I've known Jenn forever.
I
Jenn,
know.
we're gonna put you on solo because
Okay.
it's all about you
Oh
right
my.
now. I don't think there's a lot.
Wait.
I've listened to this
I
presentation
mean,
a few times, and I every time I learn something new. So I can't wait
aw,
to learn
aw.
from you again. So here you
Thank
go.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, wow. I got the whole screen to myself. Anyways, guys, so previous to me joining the travel industry, I used to own my own small business consulting firm. And I launched it in 2008. I live here in Orlando, Florida. And it's important to know this, the reason I'm sharing this story, because it's really relevant to what I'm going to share with you in just a few moments. But back in 2008, I had been in the real estate industry. I'd worked in new home sales from 2001 after 9/11 all the way to 2008. And when 2008 hit, anybody who was in Florida, Texas, California, Vegas, you know what happened. Sales went kaplooey. And what happened here in Central Florida was that local businesses started to go out of business. And I was like, why are you going out of business? They didn't learn how to pivot themselves. And the other thing that I started to see was that those small businesses needed help with how to market themselves. And somehow along the line, I met somebody who taught me one or two things. And I'm pretty good on camera, and I got put on the news. I pitched myself on New Year's resolution. So I started my own small business consulting firm. I was helping small business owners learn how to change their marketing tactics, pivot, very similar to what we're doing right now. And I learned how to pitch the local media, and I learned the ins and outs of what the local TV station is begging for on a regular basis. What they're begging for is for an expert in their community to speak with them about a subject. And the way it kind of works, and I'm going to talk about TV to begin with, and then we can talk about how that kind of branches out. Here's what really happens. In a morning news station, there is an executive producer, and then there's a bunch of producers, and then there are your TV news anchors. And what they're doing every single day is they're coming to a 10:30 in the morning meeting after they've done their 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. segment. They come to a 10:30 in the morning meeting, and they have to pitch the producers content for the next day. And they have to get it done in that time frame. So imagine from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m., that 4-hour time slot, well, after they get done with the crime report and the weather report and the traffic report and all the top news, national news, they have nothing else to talk about. They have to fill that time, and they have to fill it with local people who will help them connect with their audience so that their audience doesn't switch the channel. So they're desperate for people who know what they're talking about. And you don't have to have been, you don't have to be a super duper expert in anything to be in the local TV station. They're really just looking for someone who is going to be able to answer a handful of questions, carry on a conversation for 2.5 minutes, because that's all these segments are 2.5 minutes, or be able to interview you in your office, maybe at the airport, someplace else, get some sound bites out of what their segment is going to be about, and give it some credibility. So the reason I always like to start with talking about that is because I think it's really important for you to understand you're not bothering them by pitching them. They're waiting for somebody to come into their inbox that's going to help them fill that 4-hour time frame, that 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. or sometimes 10 a.m. local news station. Now, Roy, at any time, if anybody's got questions, they can just type it in, right? And you'll read it out to me, because I can't multitask, read and talk and do all that stuff at the same time. So pitching your local media right now is as simple as having an idea, having the right outlet to pitch, having the right email address to send the pitch to, and having a jazzy subject line and 3 points. Now, Roy, I emailed him this document that I'm actually going to go over, and I think he's going to upload it to your group as a document, so you'll be able to see this. But basically, what the local media is looking for is somebody who can extend the conversation, somebody who can actually add color to the conversation. Think about it like a news sportscaster, right? There's somebody who's given the facts, and then there's the color guy, right? The color guy is the one that's giving more of the emotional attachment, more of the story behind the facts. That's you. And in today's market right now, they need you every single day. So there are 5 components to a pitch. Before I go through the components, I want to share with you guys, I'm going to answer that question. Does it matter the size of your market? Would it be a smaller market be easier than, say, a top 10 market? So a top 10 market, yes, it's going to be a little bit harder, but it's not impossible. I used to be on Fox Business News almost on a weekly basis. I'm here in Orlando, and I was on my local Fox News. But because I've been on my local Fox News, I was able to pitch the national Fox Business News, and I was on there all the time, because once they find somebody that can actually talk, can answer the question, can add some color commentary or some additional facts to the story, they will use you over and over again. It might take a little bit longer period of time, but absolutely no reason. If you're in Boston, if you're in Chicago, if you're in any of these top, New York, any of these top ones, you've got an opportunity. So a couple things for you guys to be thinking about. When you pitch them, you're going to pitch them via email. It's just an email, and every single news station has an inbox for pitches. What you need to do is, first thing you need to do is find who is your station. Who's the station that in the morning, and I only talk morning because that's your in. They'll get you in the evening and in the afternoon if you get in the morning. So you find your local news station that you watch in the morning, or that your local community watches in the morning. It's the news station that you see they have guest interviews. Like, there's no reason to pitch a station right now that doesn't have guest interviews right now, because they're not used to having guests and other people in their studio. And right now they're all remote, quite frankly. So they're all remote right this moment. So they're find the station that you see that they're doing Skype interviews with. A lot of them will be your Fox stations or your CBS stations. So wherever you are, that's step number 1. Who's your ideal outlet? And you can pitch all of them if you want, but find the one, really focus on the one that's already got local people in there. I'm having a hot flash, Roy. Can you believe it? I've got my little fan. If you guys don't know me, I have hot flashes all the time. So find that. The second piece of your homework is to watch them for 2 days. Watch them in the morning for 2 days. Pay attention to who the reporters are. Pay attention to what time of that segment, that 5 to 9 or 5 to 10 a.m. segment, that they normally have kind of the local stuff. When do they have the local baker on? When do they have the local therapist? Like right now, there's probably a lot of therapists that are coming onto your local news, giving insight and helpful tips for families that are having to deal with one another right now. Find what's that hour. They call them blocks. So what's that block that they are actually doing that interview in? That's going to be important for when you put together your email pitch. So number one is find your outlet. Number two is look for your email address. You can call the station and say, hey, I'd like to pitch the morning show during the 8 o'clock hour. I'm with the travel industry. Who should I direct my email to? Okay, so it's your outlet, find the email address, and then find the time frame. Okay, so do that. So do they pay you for this? No, they do not pay you for this. That's a great question. No, they do not pay you for this. Only once you become like a regular, and the most they would pay you would probably be $75 or $100. When I did Fox Business, they would pay me $100 for a national news segment. But that's not what you're in it for. What you're in it, and you shouldn't have to pay either, by the way. You're in it because it gets you exposure and credibility. Now, that does not mean that your phone is going to ring off the hook when you go to pitch them. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about that right now. Your phone's not going to ring off the hook when you go to pitch them. It's not all of a sudden people are going to be calling because all of a sudden Jenn is on there. What it is you have to use that leverage in your social media or in your email marketing to say, oh, I was so honored. ABC News called me to get my take on the new airline slap on the hand that they just received. I'm really excited. Fox News I'm going to be talking to the Fox News people Sunday morning with regards to what's happening if you had booked a cruise and now they're delayed. And so you have to use that information as a way to introduce your customers, your clients, your consumers, your public audience to the fact that, yep, that's right, I'm a badass. I'm going to be on the local TV station. I'm the one they called. You kind of have to pimp yourself a little bit. Am I allowed to cuss on this, Roy? I just realized.
It's okay.
I said, okay. It wasn't a bad cuss word. So you found your outlet. You found the email address. You are watching the show, so you know what kind of block that it's going to be in. The next thing that you have to do is put together your pitch. And your pitch is literally a 5-step formula. And I've got an example pitch that I sent to Roy, and he's going to put on the Facebook page. I'm going to walk you through it, but I've actually written a pitch for you, and all you have to do is just change the relevant words. So right now, before Roy told you about the airline thing, right now, what's hot? What is everybody talking about right now on your local news that you think you can add to the conversation? I want everyone to kind of type that in. And I know we have a 20-second delay. What is it that everyone's talking about right now? And Roy, you can put in your feedback. What do you think is a hot topic right now?
Well, most of what I see are people worried what's going to happen. Where's my money? Like I've paid money. Will I be able to travel, and when?
Yeah, exactly. I've put money down. A, am I allowed to get it back? B, when am I going to be allowed to travel? So that's a problem that their audience has right now. So if you think about it from a news standpoint, they are putting up stories that is either going to inform, educate, or inspire the audience. Remember, their goal is to make sure that they tune in and they stay tuned in. So every topic has to be relevant to their audience. And most relevancy comes with what's happening right now. There's another type of pitch called like an evergreen pitch, but right now we don't need to talk about that. Evergreen is a pitch that doesn't matter what time of the year it is, it's always applicable. Top 10 things to put in your suitcase that your travel agent forgot to tell you, stuff like that. So be thinking about it. So somebody said cruise deals. A lot of people are asking about cruise deals. That's true. Cruise cancellations, summer vacation plans. So any of those are very relevant topics, and you know your community better, right? So if you're in the Midwest, it could be that cruise you've been waiting for all year long. You know people have invested a lot of money in airfare to fly to go on that cruise, whether it be out of Texas or Florida or New York. They've paid a lot of money. What are you going to do with your summer plans? So be thinking that way. And as you're thinking of these ideas, I would jot those off on a piece of paper off to the side. And every single day, send a pitch if you can, or every couple of days, send a pitch once you have found your outlet in your email that you send. And here's how the pitch works. I'm going to read it to you. And then Roy's got it posted. It's super simple. One, come up with your premise. And the one that I've used, because I just came up with this a couple of days ago, was cruise lines just moved out their sailings another 30 days. So that's something that's happened in our industry, just happened on Monday. The subject line to the email needs to be short, no more than 5 to 7 words, and it shouldn't have the word "I have a pitch" in it at all. The subject line needs to speak to that executive producer or that TV anchor that's going through their emails right now and looking for an idea to pitch their bosses. They're looking for an idea to pitch their bosses. So the subject line in this one is "Cruise lines cancel more cruises. What does that really mean?" They're going to open that. You're right. What does that mean because they canceled more cruises? That's something that I think my audience might like. The next part is hi. And if it's a newscaster that you've seen, hey, Vanessa, or, hey, morning crew, or whatever they call themselves, try to use their vernacular because then they'll know that you actually watch their show. So if you can, hey, Daybreak crew is what I would use here in Fox, in Orlando for Fox. They're called it's Daybreak. So hey, Daybreak crew. You've been covering the various travel interruptions over the past few weeks and what this means to consumers. And that's a true statement because you've been watching. So I've been watching my Fox News and I know they've been covering it. Again, it tells them that you're a viewer. This week, Royal Caribbean, NCL, and Carnival all announced that they are delaying their sailings until mid-May. So that's the opening. That's it. I've watched your show. I know you're covering this. This is something you're interested in. Here's a quick update. It occurred to me that your audience may have questions regarding what this means to them and need guidance as to what options they have. Well, that's right. That is my audience. And remember, as a TV station, I want to make my audience stay in tune. I want to put up stories that they go, yes, I need to know the answer to that question. So it occurred to me that your audience may have a few questions regarding what this means and need guidance and options. I'm available to share insights to your audience around this topic, things we can cover together. And then you come up with just three, that's it, just 3 little bullets, 3 little snippets. You don't need to come up with any more than that, just 3. The 3 I chose were things we can cover, but aren't limited to. What does this mean for consumers who have sailings booked in this time frame? Does travel insurance cover you and how? And is this a good time to take advantage of amazing cruise deals for later in the year? Well, all 3 of those points are things that I know the consumer is interested in. And why do you think, Roy, I have to have interaction here. Why do you think I know that consumers are interested in those 3 points?
We are part of the community. We hear, we see social media, we see what people are asking.
Exactly. And so it's not really rocket science for you. These are the questions you're answering already to your consumers. So if it's questions that your consumers are asking you, trust me, there are consumers out there that are asking those same questions. So you already know the answer. It's kind of like being a lawyer. You never ask a question that you don't know the answer to already. Never send a pitch with bullet points that you don't know already people are asking you about. And you can, right, Roy? You can see it on social. You can see it with other travel advisors. It's your clients that are telling you that at the same time. So now I've done my premise, my opening. I've told them that I watched their show. I've proven it because I've called them, hey, good day crew. I've given them the 3 things that we can cover, but we're not limited to that. And then I just end it with, I own a travel agency in whatever the name of your city is. And I stay on top of all things travel related and feel comfortable speaking freely in an interview format. Feel free to reach out to me, and you just put your name, your phone, your email address, and your website. Boom, done. That's your pitch. So it's just the premise. What is it that's going on right now? I already know my outlet. I already know I need to tell them during the 8 o'clock hour. I notice that you do a lot of lifestyle conversations. As soon as they see that you type that, they know you watch their show. Here's what the problem is out there. Here is the potential questions that I can answer for your consumers. If you send that pitch, you will get a phone call unless somebody else has sent it prior to you. And then somebody wrote, yes, write the interview questions for the reporter. Exactly. The reporter, they are busy. They are not lazy. They are busy. They need you to write that segment for them. Like, oh, that would be a good segment. You're right. What does happen? And that's it. That's how you pitch your local media. And this exact same format can be sent to your newspapers. And what I would do is I'd find the writer, the travel writer, the business writer, whoever the writer is of your local newspaper, and like their page, because they all have Facebook pages, and send them a private message with this same script. But I would start with, hey, I noticed you've been writing about this. I own a travel agency, and I can talk to this. Do you have a moment so we can converse? And they'll reach back out to you. I know you would think that this was going to take a lot longer for me to explain how this is done. That's how simple it is, people. It's super simple. Pitching the media is just about having a premise, knowing who your outlet is, and having a formula to your pitch. Now, I'd like to open it up to questions, or I'd like to open it up to challenges. I'd like to open it up to, hey, here's what I'm thinking. What should I do? I'd like to open it up to that, Roy, because it's really not much more to it than that. And of course, doing it.
And we're gonna wait for some of the questions. But is it just for the local? Is there any chance to, now that everything and people are used to everything going on Skype, should we go any further, or should we just start small at first?
No, that's a great question. There's another resource that's out there that reporters use called Help a Reporter Out. And it's Haro, HARO.com. If you go to that website, you can sign up. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. At least it didn't in the past. And freelance writers will post a question on there saying, I'm looking for a family of 4 that had their vacation canceled with Carnival Cruise coming out of San Francisco. It'll be very specific. And so if you go and you sign up for the newsletter, you'll get an email from them, and you can say, I just went on Travel and Leisure if you want. You'll get an email with all the questions from all the freelance writers, and sometimes it is on air talent as well, looking for somebody. But it's going to be very, very specific, and you need to respond ASAP. Back when I did it, they would send it at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I'd get up early in the morning. And as soon as I got the email, I knew to scroll to find whatever was applicable to me because I was a business consultant. And anything that was about small business and entrepreneurship, I would respond right away. Many times they would say, please respond with the answers to these 3 questions. I've been written up in Inc. magazine, Success magazine, Red Book magazine, Women's Journal. I've been on Good Morning America and again, Fox Business News quite a bit because of just pitching the local media. You don't need to hire a PR person to do it. But you can, your local media is easy because they don't already have experts in many cases. And once you get on or once you get quoted, they will keep calling you because if you do a good job, they know they don't have to find somebody from now on. They'll just keep sending you text messages or Facebook messages or emails. Oh, Haro. Oh, you know what? I'll go to, sorry about that. It's not Haro.com. My apologies. It's Help a Reporter. It's helpareporter.com. Just Google Help a Reporter Out. Sorry about that. You're right. That's hilarious. I've gotten 6 national TV spots using Haro. I don't know who said that, but that's amazing. Yep. Got a call from PBS last week. Reporter told me she called 12 agencies and nobody wanted to go on air live. Are you kidding me?
It seems like some people are afraid to tell bad news or maybe feel like they're going to be associated with bad news.
Yeah.
So maybe think of what you're again planning on saying and think of a positive way, a positive spin. Look towards the future, better deals. People are cramped at home. They will want to eventually get out and leave. So think positive and think of the amazing publicity that you can get.
Believe me, you gain such brownie points with your consumer base. We have a couple of agents at TPI that have been pitching their local media. One is on all the time, Effie Walthall out of Orlando. They call her all the time. One of our employees, John Morrison, they call him all the time when he goes on. And it's really, anytime you pitch them, they'll say, yeah, and then they know to reach out to you. There was something I was going to say with regards to that. Are you able to preview the topics and questions you may be asked to be better prepared? Great question. Yes and no. So the TV station wants you to be successful because they don't want a bad interview. So it's not like they're going to like walk you onto the stage. And right now, a lot of it is going to be over Skype or Google Hangout or whatever they're using. A lot of it's going to be Skype. They're going to say, hey, listen, here's where we want to go with this interview, so on and so forth. But because you're sending them the pitch, they're going to say, yeah, we want to cover those 3 things. Or, hey, you know what? I like those ideas, but one of the things that we really want to find out is X, Y, and Z. So you'll know that ahead of time. What I used to do, you don't need to know all the answers just sitting in your brain. Google that crap. Just Google that shit. Google it. Ask your advisors. Hey, I'm going online. I used to do this all the time. I'd go online and say, hey, I'm getting ready to go on Fox tomorrow morning. Here's one of the questions they have. What's your input on this? And get the information. And then use that in your interview. And when you are in an interview, when they ask you a question, it's not about you. Remember, it's about the consumer. So the way you answer that is, you can bring yourself up. Like, I'm getting this question quite a bit from my clients going to Europe. Now you've plugged yourself. I'm getting this question quite a bit, so I take good care of my customers is what it says. I'm getting this question quite a bit from my clients. Oh, you actually have business. That's what you're saying. I'm getting that question from my clients who are going to Europe. Oh, you book travel to Europe. You've sold yourself in just those 6. I'm getting questions like this from my clients who are traveling to Europe, and here's what I've been telling them. And then you just answer that. But always try to plug yourself a little bit along the way by saying you're already experiencing it. Or, hey, I have a travel agency and I have 6 travel advisors that work within my agency. Here's what we are hearing. Now you're showing your robustness. And every single one of you guys are travel agency owners. Unless you're an employee, an actual employee, you are a travel agency owner, even if it's just an owner of one, or you're part of a travel agency. Okay, did I answer that question, Roy?
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people are, they've done it. It worked. I think it's a great system, and you made it easy. I posted the link. I'll put another. Make sure that everyone gets the file to review it. This is, you have to use the current situation to your advantage, and get an edge, in your community.
Absolutely. And we have to change the narrative. And that's the whole thing. The narrative can only be changed by us in the travel advisor community. ASTA's doing a great job. CLIA's doing a great job. The cruise lines will be doing a great job. I mean, everyone's in the industry is going to do it. But the ones that are really have the greatest opportunity to change the narrative in a media standpoint is you. It's all of us individually. Because we're in the community and they want to hear from people, their own people in the community. They don't necessarily always want to hear somebody else's take on it. They want to hear what's happening in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I am a Milwaukee, Wisconsin travel agency owner. I know you. I get you. So you've got more of an opportunity to change that narrative and make an impact through the media than the media has.
Yeah, I'm seeing some people writing about, do you need any disclaimers? Did you ever realize that someone, I don't know, maybe, I don't think people are getting worried being sued or anything, but what about things that are not updated? Does it really matter? Do we treat whatever is said as the law, or?
Well, that's a really great question. I'm not sure who asked that question, but that's a really good question. So I would steer away from anything that nails you down to specifics that are not in your control. So as an example, if somebody asked you, well, how do if they said, well, what's happening with the airlines? What's Delta's policy on canceling? I would probably answer that question like every airline has a different policy. The best thing to do if you're not using a travel advisor is to make sure you go to the FAQs and understand that this stuff changes on a regular basis. Typically, though, here's what's happening. And if you use the word typically in general, check out the FAQs. It changes often. You'll be safe in that respect. They're not asking you to, be a legal counsel to somebody else's disclaimers. They're really looking for that color commentary, that boots on the street type story behind their story.
Yeah, sounds right. Again, a person on the news told me people on TV, yeah, they need to make sure that all the information is correct. I don't think anyone is gonna
Yeah.
Be upset with you.
Yeah, and let me dispel any kind of myths. You do not need right. Ask exactly. Watch a politician. Listen, I grew up in politics. My mom ran Ronald Reagan's campaign for the state of Florida. I know what politicians are all about, and they never answer a question. They know how to answer around a question. I don't want you to be like that. You want to give some good stuff. Hey, Roy, is Effie part or Dilworth part of your group?
Effie is part of the group. She actually even did one of the sessions with me about a cruise.
Oh, good. She just did a segment where they were doing it via Skype, and you might want to reach out to her and make sure she posts that so you guys can see an example of it. You'll see it was a back and forth conversation, and it was very easy. Amy, who was the co-host, the anchor asked a question, but Effie had already sent them the question. Asked a question, Effie gave the answer. It was really good. She sent you a little bit of feedback, so there was a little bit of a delay, but that's what it looks like. It's not hard.
I saw it on her page. I think I'll ask her permission and I'll post it.
Yeah.
Yes, it makes you look like a superstar. It makes you look like a rock star, definitely.
It does, and it also, again, I'm a huge believer in you guys. When I got into this industry, I was blown away with the giving nature and the detail that you have to go through, and the fact that the marketing side is so hard sometimes, so challenging, because the other part of your job, which is curating that experience, servicing that client, chasing things down, marketing yourself can be really hard sometimes. So I like to keep it simple. Pick an avenue or a lane that you're able to kind of tap into and then exploit that. I used to put, and I tell my advisors this now, if you're going to get interviewed, even if it's just a one-liner in a blog, in a travel industry blog, that's another thing. Make sure you're following the travel weeklies. The Travel Market Report is an excellent industry communication outlet, and they are all about travel advisors. It's the voice of the travel advisor. They're constantly looking for travel advisors to interview. I'm sure, I know, Roy, you've been interviewed a handful of times with them. And so when you get that interview and you get that 1 or 2 line quote, you should be posting that on your Facebook, post it on your LinkedIn, tell people you just got interviewed, tell them you were interviewed, show them the interview, repost the interview later on. You've got to pimp that stuff out. You worked hard to get it. Pimp it out, and that will constantly remind your audience that, oh my goodness, this person is of value because somebody else found them valuable. And there's something that happens when people see you on TV. They really think you're something special. They really do. And I hate to pull the curtain and, go behind the curtain. It's not that they were any more special than you. They were only more special because they pitched themselves. That's the difference. They got in front of the media. It's not that they know more than you. It's not that at all. Many times you see people on TV and you're like, are you kidding me? I could do that. Well, of course you could. Now I just showed you how to do it. So go start doing it. Sorry, I get on my soapbox, Roy. You know me.
Yes, I mean, definitely I can tell you that when I posted a few videos of me on TV, I think my mom shared the post like 50 times, the same post for 50 times. And I don't think I do that anymore because she embarrasses me a little bit.
Oh my goodness. That's what mamas do. And that's a good idea. Have all your friends post. But anyway, well, guys, I've really enjoyed this. This is good. This is good. Please let me know if you've got any other questions. But I've really enjoyed sharing my knowledge about this. I'm really high on you guys. I think every travel advisor there should be a travel advisor on every local news station, every single one. There's no reason not to, because we have people in every state across this country.
Right. It's good to get our story out there so people will know. We no longer want to hear people like, oh, there's still travel agents out there. And we've seen the internet media with Expedia, people waiting in line or on hold. If you're able to provide the service and answer within seconds, minutes, while others just hang up the phone, like Disney, they reached a point where I think like 2 p.m. they just shut it down. Like we're not accepting any more calls. Cruise lines the same, airlines the same. Now it's okay. You can reach them now because the massive wave of cancellations have passed. But if we can get our story and you then take this out there into your networking groups, into media, into the written media, tell them that we are here in case there's an emergency. If something that no one thinks about can happen, and you know what? It did. It just did right now. And a lot of travel agents have risen to for the cause and made some changes and helped their clients, whether to bring them back home, help them with just answering questions like what's going on with the trip. We saw some companies like Book It that went under. That just said people, sorry, we're closed.
Yep. Sorry. Good luck to you.
Yep.
And Roy, you bring up a good point. We talk about, and I've said this for years, it irritates me when I hear that we kind of throw that word value out there. I add value. Well, I hate to break it to you. Value means something different to everybody, and nobody knows what value means. They only know what value means when you attach it to them or to a story. So this is the prime opportunity because, like you said, this massive thing happened and there was all this news media centered around the Costco's, the Bookit.com, the Expedias, all of them, these people who are kind of like flailing on hold for 6 and 7 hours. You're showing your value by being able to answer these questions in the media or to bring more to the conversation. They're going to know I should have used a travel advisor. You never even have to say it. They know it already. They've experienced the bad. Now they're looking for the right. And if you're not there, they don't know it. I always tell people this all the time. They're like, and I don't know, Roy, if you experienced this, or if anybody who's listening has experienced this, but I remember people always saying, well, they know I'm a travel advisor, but I'm so irritated. My next door neighbor just booked her own cruise. And I'm like, well, how often did you tell them you're a travel advisor, that you own a travel agency? And they're like, well, they know that. And I said, well, how do you know that? And I'll argue with them. I'm like, unless you're talking about it all the time, unless you're showing yourself, showing your value through what you post, how you interact with them, you can't assume they remember that. People have family members that forget their travel advisors, for heaven's sake.
Yes, definitely. Make sure that people really know what you do.
Yep.
And hopefully after this, some at least will appreciate you, will understand that what we bring to the table is more important than if they will even save the $20, $25. And you guys all know that sometimes it's not a matter of price. People thinking about having control over the reservation. Here, have control over the reservation. What can you do?
Yeah,
we can do a lot more. We're professionals.
Yeah, and we know what not to do, and you don't know what not to do so that you don't get into that trouble. But anyways, well, listen, I'm so appreciative of everybody's time. If you aren't watching live, Roy did post that document. And if you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm happy to answer because I want to see everybody get on their local media. And congratulations for everything you guys are doing. And congratulations, Roy. I've heard such good things about this group. And I love the name of it, Travel Agents Helping Each Other. I love it. And you guys just are rock stars. Get out there and make good things happen.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jen, for coming aboard. And we appreciate you. It's going to be a very popular video, I know for sure.
Good.
Have an amazing weekend. And as always, if you need me or anyone in the team needs me, I'm available. Thank you.
You're the best, Roy. Bye.
Bye.